Welcome back. The man awaiting trial for the murder of Loyola student Sheridan Gorman has been in federal custody since March 23rd, now facing new federal charges. But let's remind people, Jose Medina, the charges he's facing is first-degree murder of Sheridan Gorman, first-degree attempted murder, 3 counts of aggravated assault, aggravated unlawful possession of a weapon, and illegal possession of a firearm. Martha McCallum spoke with Sheridan's family. Here's a little bit of that interview.
In the courthouse, he didn't look at us. I don't know if I wanted him to look at me, but he didn't look at us. At one point, I did see his face. He turned, presumably to see if someone was in the courthouse for him. We were surrounded by 30 of our best friends and family who had journeyed to Chicago with us. We had our family with them, and no one was there for him. But when he did turn to the side, I saw his eyes, and they were cold.
Someone who can plan this, to gain access to an illegal firearm, to have the wherewithal to wear a mask on the end of the pier, hiding, waiting for someone to come, that person planned that out. They are fully capable of standing trial.
And now we know Jose Medina in the Cook County Penal Institution charged with a new felony charge of possession of contraband in a penal institution, possessing this shank, this knife with the tape thing there. We'll see where this story goes. Rachel, I'll send it over to you.
Thank you, Griff. The CDC is estimating that nearly 500,000 cases of Lyme disease in the U.S. every year, and emergency room visits for tick bites are at an all-time high in nearly 10 years. HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced new efforts to combat Lyme disease during the Take Back Your Health tour, as concerns are growing across the country. Joining us now is Dr. Marc Siegel. He's our Fox News senior medical contributor, and he's the author of The Miracles Among Us: How God's Grace Plays a Role in Healing. Dr. Siegel, it's great to have you on. This is an important topic, especially as we come into summer. My son got a tick bite. I didn't know what was wrong with him. This was many years ago. He had a headache. I thought he had a brain tumor. I took him for a CAT scan because I was so worried, and it turned out he had Lyme's disease. What do we need to know about Lyme's? What are the symptoms, and how can this vaccine help?
Well, first of all, Rachel, you just hit some of the symptoms, you know, headache, flu-like symptoms, fever, malaise, and you may not have anything else, and then you could mistake it for something else. But that bullseye rash is 70% of the time, which is a red rash with a hollow center. But I want to warn people that I find that rash a lot, and it can be in places you're not looking for it. Under your armpits, it can be up in your scalp. It could be somewhere where you can't find it, and it may look a little atypical. So if I see that rash, I tend to treat it. Other thing I want people to know is that where this is really occurring is in the Northeast, the mid-Atlantic states, and over by you in Wisconsin. That's why you were concerned about it. That area, Wisconsin, Minnesota, is a big high Lyme area. And as you said, 500,000 cases a year estimated by CDC. It's way more than that. I congratulate Secretary Kennedy for this initiative. He goes to New Hampshire to announce it, where Dartmouth is coming up with a new test using artificial intelligence, molecular testing. Other places are using antibody testing. So here's the point. By the time the current tests turn positive, it's weeks later. The new tests using AI, maybe in a few days, can guide me to decide whether I need to give antibiotics or not. If I have to give them early is the way to do it, to prevent the other thing that Kennedy is spotlighting here, which is chronic Lyme, which a lot of us believe in. If you don't get that Lyme early, you can have long-term effects.
All right, and so there's a new vaccine for Lyme's disease. Explain how that works.
So that vaccine is a protein vaccine, and it's Pfizer's putting it out, and it's about 70% effective, and it's in phase 3 trials. I think that it's very promising, and I think especially would be useful in areas that I mentioned of the country where there's a lot of Lyme. Now, there's other things you can do. You can spray for ticks. By the way, it's actually field mice, white-legged mice that carry Lyme disease, not deer, although deer make the problem a lot worse because the ticks actually reproduce on deer. So deer, birds, mice, control those. And then if you're out there in the grass, ticks are right around your ankle line or higher. So wear long pants, and believe it or not, stick it into your socks because you don't want the ticks there. That's where the ticks get you, right around your ankle and above. And spraying is a really good thing to do.
So is this vaccine available now?
This vaccine is not available now. It should be available in a few months. I have a feeling with this Spotlight, they may fast track it. It's a completely safe vaccine based on older technology. It's not something that we don't know about. It's using proteins and basically peptides to target the Lyme, part of the proteins on the Lyme Borrelia, it's called, the bacteria itself. Very, very, very promising. It's going to be useful. Last time we had a Lyme vaccine, nobody took it. This vaccine is safe, effective. I think we're going to get a lot of use out of it.
Well, let's see. People are very vaccine nervous after all the lies on COVID, but we'll see what happens. It is a serious issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's one of the problems when the health departments lie, federal health departments lie to the people. Then when they come up with something that maybe is good, everyone's really suspicious. But maybe it's good for us all to be a little suspicious. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, Dr.
By the way, that's
yes.
why I'm on here saying that I think this one looks very safe. I also want to congratulate you on your new book, All-American Patriotism, which is fantastic.
Thank you so much, Dr. Siegel. I really appreciate it.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.